Happy or sad?
Sad.
Okay. But I warn you, I'll break your heart.
Already broken.
After watching Chelsea lose the Carabao Cup final, the hope was really low. This is how we were spending the last 2 or 3 days as Chelsea fans. But now it was a chance to put all that behind and look forward to another cup game, this time against Leeds United. Initially, we thought, okay, Leeds is a championship team. Maybe this will be a smoother ride. But oh my god, it wasn't. At 8 minutes, we conceded a goal out of nowhere. And yeah, this is how we felt. It felt like this was going to be a tough night. And it was a tough night. However, the team pulled up the socks and responded immediately. 7 minutes later, Chelsea had the ball at the back of the Leeds net. It was Nicholas Jackson who scored a really good goal from a very tight angle. After scoring the equalizer, Chelsea looked a much more settled side. We grew into the game, and right before the 40-minute mark, Mykhailo Mudryk gave Chelsea the lead. Mudryk, who was playing through the middle as a number 10, adjusted his feet really quickly to slot in from Raheem Sterling's cross. The move was actually started by Mudryk, and the so-called pre-assist was delivered by Malo Gusto, who was again in very impressive form. Chelsea ended the first half in a slightly stronger form than Leeds, but the second half was entirely different. Leeds came out with more energy, more intent, and more urgency. Chelsea, having played a 120-minute final just 2 days back, the tired legs began to show. Now, we can't blame the manager or the players entirely for this. If you play a 120-minute final just 2 days back, you're supposed to be physically absolutely knackered. On top of that, having lost the final, Chelsea were mentally exhausted too. When you win a final, when you win a trophy, you have a good mood, you have greater confidence, and you have an extra spring in your step. But Chelsea were mentally exhausted after that harrowing 120-minute final, which they eventually lost to a bunch of kids who were Liverpool's C team. And that lack of energy eventually gave in. Right before the hour mark, Matteo Joseph, just 20 years of age, scored his second goal of the day and equalized. It's almost looking like Chelsea will always have to suffer at the hands of young kids. The game was much more open now, and Pochettino quickly realized that Chelsea can't go on with his tired legs much longer. He had to make substitutions. He introduced Ben Chilwell instead of Malo Gusto and replaced Noni Madueke with Conor Gallagher. Sterling took Madueke's right-wing position. Conor Gallagher moved into number 10 and Mudryk shifted to his customary left-wing position. The substitution brought in some fresh legs but could not turn the tide in favour of Chelsea. Leeds were growing into the game again. And again, Poch had to make substitutions. He brought in Cole Palmer replacing Raheem Sterling and Levi Colwill replacing Alfie Gilchrist. The match went on and it looked like Chelsea were heading for extra time again.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah, this is how it felt. Seriously, it didn't look like we would survive another extra time. But guess what? The villain, or if we could call him that, of the Carabao Cup final, the person who could have had a hat-trick, finally came up with a winner in the 90th minute. A move started by Enzo Fernandez, finished nicely by Conor Gallagher, and Chelsea led 3-2. Late into injury time, Pochettino replaced Mudryk with 19-year-old debutant Jimmy Torianen, who was making his first senior appearance. The final whistle blew and Stamford Bridge felt a relief. This win was really necessary. After all the negativity in the past 2 days, this was a little positive. Now Chelsea face Leicester in the quarter-final of the FA Cup. The same Leicester that defeated us in the FA Cup final at Wembley 3 years back. Before we end this, must praise some players. Caicedo has been playing at a very top level for the past few weeks. He did have a shaky start to his Chelsea career, but recently he has been top notch, and it was no different yesterday. He was intense in midfield, and while you expect him to be, his recent performances show that Chelsea did splurge on the right player. Mudryk played for the first time in the number 10 role in a Chelsea shirt. He has been doing this back in Ukraine, but this is the first instance we saw him do this in a Chelsea shirt. He did not exactly set firecrackers off at Stamford Bridge last night, but he did play well, and his goal was very well taken. Young Alfie Gilchrist, who's just 20, has been playing as a centre-back in the Chelsea Academy and Reserves. However, with Reece James out for the long term, he has been often deployed at right back as a Malo Gusto backup. Last night though, he started at left back instead of Ben Chilwell, who was believably tired after a 120-minute final against Liverpool. And yet, apart from a few loose touches right at the start, I can't really find a mistake in Alfie Gilchrist's performance. He's becoming a real utility player. Maybe a future Azpilicueta who can play right back, left back, centre back, anything his manager wants him to be. Nicholas Jackson is often criticised for the chances he misses, but ever since he's been back from the AFCON, he's been really good. His link-up plays, his runs down the channel, his attitude has been really good. Last night too, he took his goal really well. He passed to Malo Gusto, and again he was found with an amazing through ball from Caicedo, and he took his goal well from a tight angle. If he keeps this up, he will already have been a better performer than Timo Werner and Alvaro Morata when they first came in. It is not an easy feat to come in from a different league and settle in the Premier League immediately. And we forget, he's only 22 years old. He has got time on his side and he will develop. He may not be the person to lead the line for Chelsea in the long term, but he's definitely done enough to put some trust into him. Chelsea face Brentford this Saturday. Not going to be an easy tie. We've already lost to Brentford at Stamford Bridge earlier this season in the Premier League. Now we face them again, this time at their stadium. They're a really feisty team who will give their all. And knowing how tired Chelsea's midfield is, it's not going to be easy. Pochettino will have to rotate. There's no other option. We do not have the luxury to bring on Leslie Gochukwu or Romeo Lavia if Enzo, Caicedo or Gallagher are tired. Injury luck this season has been really, really bad. But there's no place for excuses in the Premier League. I believe Pochettino will bring back Petrovic back in between the sticks instead of Robert Sanchez like we saw last night. With Nkunku out injured again, I don't think there's going to be much change from the starting lineup we saw in the Carabao Cup final and we saw at the Etihad. We may expect a lot of youngsters in the bench again for the game. But sitting at 11th, Chelsea have no other option than to absolutely go for the 3 points. The defense won't have it easy because Ivan Toney is in really good form. However, I'm hopeful of a Chelsea win. Maybe a 1-0 or a 2-1. But yeah, we need the 3 points.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.